Today's session will talk about SQL Server reporting services. SQL Server reporting services is one of the modules within the SQL Server. When we install SQL Server, we have the ability to configure SQL Server reporting services, or when we install SQL Server, we install or we include SQL Server reporting services as part of the installation. And reporting services is a reporting tool, as it says. It's a client reporting tool where we show the reports or we build the reports and dashboards using the database system. That means the data from database as well as analysis services. So, the main component within the reporting services where we build the report is report definition file. The extension of that file is .rdl. So, .rdl files are the reporting files that are created where we show the reports or where we build the reports. And report project components, the main components within the SQL Server reporting services project are the data sources, where we create data sources that connect to our source system in the sense where the data exists, like SQL Server analysis services. And then data sets. The data sets are the data items, that means your queries that return the data. Queries are maybe stored procedures that return the data set. And then reports. Reports are, as I was saying earlier, reports are the RDL files where we actually build the report. If we go to Visual Studio, so let's say we go to Visual Studio and I will close these documents. To create a reporting services project, we need to right click on the solution, say add new project. So, first we need to create the reporting services project before creating a report. Okay. So, this is the step to add a empty reporting services project. So, select reporting services project and we will just name it as report project and click OK. So, which will create an empty project for us. So, if you look at this list, we see shared data set, where when it says shared data set, that means that data source, that means this data source whatever it is listing here is give me 1 second. So, whatever data sources we are listing can be shared across the reports and across the data sets. Okay. Similarly, shared data sets means this data sets that can be shared across the reports. That is why this is the shared data sets and shared data sources. So, we have data sources, we have data sets where we define the data set, the data item, and then the reports where we build the reports. Okay. So, once we create the project, the first step would be to create the data source, where we will set up the connection to our source. The source could be our SQL source or it could be analysis services source. Right click on the source to create a data source, say add new data source to create a data source. I will name this as data source and my source type in this case is SQL Server. I want to use SQL Server as my data source. Edit, to edit the server name and details, I provide the server name and I pick my database, click OK. So, that is my connection string. So, we are creating a data source called named data source that connects to the SQL Server with the connection string. And if we go to credentials, we see different credential types that can be used to connect to the data source. The first option is using Windows authentication. That means when we have Windows authentication enabled, whenever user is accessing the report, that particular user's Windows account is being used to authenticate against the report. The second option is use a specific username and password. So, when we specify this, we need to hard code a username and password. So, this option is useful when you want to run a report using a different account, not the account that is not with the user account through which user is logged in. If you want to use a separate account, you use this option. Then the third option you see prompt for credentials. So, when this option is selected, what happens when a user browses a report, or when a user tries to access the report, he will get a prompt message saying enter your username and password, and user will enter the username and password, and those credentials are used to authenticate against this particular source. And then do not use credentials. When you say do not use credentials, it will be authenticated as anonymous user. But most of the scenarios we go with use Windows authentication, where we want to use the user's credentials to authenticate against the system, because we want to see whether user has access to the system. We do not want to allow all the outside users or whoever unauthorized users to access the reports, right. So, we want only authorized users to access the reports. That is why we use Windows authentication. Click OK. So, now I created a data source named data source, and next step would be to create the data set. Data set is the place where we provide a query that returns a data set, and that data set we use in our reports. So, I will go ahead and create a new data set, add new data set, and I will just keep it as, for my data set query, I want to use one of the queries that I already have. So, I will open the Page Management Studio. So, I created already prepared one query that I want to use for this example. So, my query here is this one. So, this query what it is doing, it is basically getting the sales amounts from fact internet sales, fact reseller sales, and fact internet sales by joining to few other supporting tables like dim product subcategory, product category, and date. So, by joining to all these tables, it is returning the product subcategory name, product category name, calendar year, reseller order quantity, and internet order quantity. Okay. So, those are the things, those are the columns it is returning, and similarly from fact internet sales also it is returning same columns, and I am unioning all. So, when I run this guy, I should get both internet sales orders or reseller sales, internet sales and reseller sales. It looks like there is some syntax error. Okay. So, this is my query. I want to use it in as a data set, shared data set. Control C, I will take this query, paste it here, and I will call it as sales by product. So, that is my data set. So, if you look at the other options available, other properties available for a data set, we see something called fields. So, what is the fields? These are the fields coming out of the data set. So, the columns that we are returning from the data set are the fields, and then they have options where we specify correlation, case sensitivity, all these SQL Server related options. And then filters. Filters means if we want to filter the data from this data set, we can add filters here. We will see the filters later. Parameters is another option where we can include the parameters into the data set, so that we can pass some values into the data set. Okay. We will see the parameters also later. So, this is my simple query, and I will say click OK. So, now I created a shared data set. Okay. So, the first step was to create a data source, the second step was to create a data set. Now, the main step is to create the actual report. So, to create a report, I will say add new report, and when I say add new report, it opens the new report wizard, where I will say next, and the first option would be to select the data source. So, here we have two options. One is select the shared data source, or we can create a new data source here. So, when we are creating a new data source, this is not a shared one. That means, this particular data source is accessible only through this report, the report that we are building. When we create a shared data source, that data source is accessible from any report. Okay, that is the difference between shared data set and the local data set. So, this option enables us to create local data set. Local data set means local data source means the data source that is accessible only in this report. Okay. So, I will go ahead and pick the shared data source that we already created and click next, and then we ask for the query, what kind of a query we need to use to run the report. Okay. So, I will use the same query that I used to create the data set. Okay. So, when I am using the query here, I am not actually utilizing the shared data set. Okay. Here I am using the local query, or I am creating a data set local to this report. Okay. Next I will go to next, then it will ask for the report type. Okay. We will pass here, we will go back to our session here, the presentation. So, we saw how to create data source. We created a shared data source, we created a shared data set, and we are trying to create a report. Okay. So, report sections, when we create a report, there are mainly three sections within the report. One is the page header, report body, where you actually have the report, and next is the page footer. So, it is like a Word document. When you open a Word document, you see page header, footer, and the body, right. Similar to that, SSRS report also has header, footer, and body. Body is the place where you actually have the report. Page header and page footer, you can have supporting information like having images, like headings, and all those things. And then we saw the layouts here. When you are creating SSRS report, it is asking for report type, tabular and matrix. When you select a tabular, the report, basically this is talking about how the report should be laid out, or how we want to show the report. So, when we say tabular, the data or the report content will be showed in tabular model or tabular model, okay, not the analysis services tabular model. It's just a table format with row groups. When we say matrix, the report is shown as row groups, column groups, and the body. So row groups is the groups in the row side, horizontal grouping. Column groups is the vertical grouping, and then we will have the actual details. This is the matrix format, and the tabular format is regular rows and columns format. And within the rows you can have row group. The row group means grouping of rows into one or grouping of rows, okay. So that is tabular and matrix format. And there is a third format as well, which is called tablix. Tablix is not a specific format as such available in SSRS. It is a term used. The tablix term used for the combination of tables, matrices and lists. Lists are data regions that display report data. That means lists are kind of a free flow, free layout. That means without showing the data as a table or a matrix, if you want to show the content as a free text, you can use lists. So the combination of tables, matrices and lists are collectively referred to as tablix, okay. So there is no such format as tablix, but we use the term tablix to refer to a structure that combines tables, matrices and lists, okay. And tables can have only row groups, matrices can have row groups as well as column groups, okay. So if you want to look at a sample report structure, this is what those three formats looks like. The table report, the first one here is the table format. The second one is, second picture is matrix. The third one is the list. So when you see the list, you see a free text here. There is no specific format to this text. So this is the free form layout, which is called list or list report. Whereas in case of matrix, you will have row groups. Row groups are these ones, and the column groups. Column groups are group of groupings within the column, like the North America is a group, right, column grouping, and the row grouping here, and the details. This is matrix format. And then the last one we have is table format. In the table you will see only the row groups, you don't see any column groups. These are all plain columns listed, but you will see the row groups here in the tables. So in the tables we will have only row groups. In the matrix you can have row groups and column groups, whereas in the list you will not have rows or row groups, columns or anything. It's just a free flow text format. So that is list. So there are three different types of formats we have. One is table, matrix and list. When we are creating the SSRS report, when we create SSRS report, we get these two options, tabular options or type and matrix type. Depending on the options we pick, we get different input details. That means we need to provide different options. For example, let's say I want to create a tabular report. I click next, it will ask for design options. So these design options change depending on which report type we pick. For example, if I go to matrix, if I click next, I see more options than the tabular, because the matrix holds row groups and column groups. Okay, whereas that's the options here, columns and rows, whereas if you go to tabular you see only groups. So let's see the other options within the tabular type. So we pick the tabular and we see page. So page is the column we want to use to separate the report into pages. So if we don't provide the page here, that means if you don't want to separate the report by page, what happens? All the report content will be shown in one page. Whereas if you want to separate the report by page, that means you want to take one column or you want to take one group and separate the report by that group. For example, year, right? You want to show one page for each year instead of clubbing all the years into one report and showing a big gigantic report for 10 years. You can separate the report by year. So that is what paging. And then the groups is the row groups, because table type supports only row groups. So you want to specify how the grouping should happen at the row level. Then the details are the actual metrics you want to see, the measures you want to see. So out of these columns, to build a report, I will go ahead and pick calendar year as a page separator. So as soon as I pick the calendar year, it highlights this values. That means I picked here the value for this page separation. Okay. So next I will pick the values for details, that means the metrics I want to see. See, the as soon as I picked metrics or details, it is showing what values or what are the area I picked for, and then rest is the grouping. So I will say product subcategory and product category. But in my case, product category should be at the top level, because product category is the parent of subcategory. So I want to change the sequence here, the order of columns. So I will use this up and down arrow buttons to change the order. So what did I do so far? I selected tabular type and I configured the design of the table, which columns should go into which area of the report. So the metrics or the measures I wanted to go into details, and the product category and subcategory I want to group them in the rows as a row groups, and then calendar year to separate the reports by page or by year. So each report by year. So I click next, and now next option is the table layout. So earlier we picked table type. Table layout is just the layout. How do you want to lay out the content? So we actually picked how the design of the report should look like. The next step we will be just picking how the layout should be. So this is a step where you will see header, another header, and the details. So if you look at this one, you are not seeing totals here, the metrics at this layer. That means at the parent level. You don't see any metrics at the parent level. You will see metrics only at the detail level. But if you go with block, it shows the metrics at each level, and then there is subtotals. Okay. So it's just how the report will be shown, the layout. So in my case, I will pick stepped report. I want to see how the stepped report looks like. And there are, apart from the layout, apart from the stepped and block, you have two other options here. One is include subtotals, where if you want to see subtotals at each group level, row group level, you can see the subtotals. And also we have option for drill downs. When you select drill down, what happens? You will have the ability to drill down into the row group. Okay, we will see that later. So step, select step, click next, and I will say, I will name this report as sales by product. I will say basic. Okay, that is my report. Click finish, and now it is creating the report. So this is my design page window where I can change the design if needed. By default, by selecting by going through those all the steps, we already designed the report. But in case if you want to change the format, or if you want to do any additions or modifications, we can do in the design area. So that is design tab, and there is something called preview tab. In the preview tab, we can see the behavior of the report. How does this report looks like when we actually execute? That means when we actually render the data. So that is basically you see in the preview. So if I click on preview, it is basically loading the data from SQL, whatever the source we provided. So this is our sales by product report. And if you look at this year here 2010, this is the grouping or paging. So we selected calendar year as a page for a paging option. That means each page will be shown for a given 1 year, starting from first to last year, all the available years. So if I say next here, I should be seeing the next year's data 2011. If I say next page, I should be seeing 2012. Like this, the report is divided by year in each page. Okay, and then since we selected the tabular, it is showing the row groups. Row groups are, we selected category, product category, and product subcategory. These are the row groups. Product category and product subcategory are the row groups, and the actual metrics are the details, and this is the paging. So those are the three options we had for the tabular type. Okay, and since we haven't selected drill down, we haven't selected subtotals, they are not showing here. Okay, so this is the plain report. Now let's see what happens if I select drill down. So I want to see the difference between not having drill down versus having drill down. So I will create the same report again with the same options, the same query, the tabular model again, page, calendar year as the page, and subcategory and category are the groups, and then reseller order quantity, internet order quantity as details. Next, here I want to select drill down, enable drill down. So what happens when I enable the drill down? Next, sales by product, I will call it as with drill down. Okay, now I will go to preview again to see the data. So when you enable drill down, what happens? Let's expand these columns little bit. subcategory name, reseller order quantity, and internet order quantity. So now I go to preview. Now what is happening here? I see this plus sign, which is the drill down option. That means I got the plus sign, which will basically give me the collapse and expand options, which is nothing but drill down option. So I click on this, it opens up the subcategory, and then I click on this, it opens the actual details. So instead of showing all the data in a flat format, we can use drill down option so that users can see the detailed data only when they want to, because here it is just 5 columns, 5 rows it is showing. But imagine we added a product information into the report. What happens? You will have a humongous gigantic report. So instead of having a big report like this, if you have a consolidated or collapsed version like this, user can easily see the numbers at the higher level, and if they want to drill down and go to lower level, they can always click plus and go, or expand this and go. Okay, that is drill down. But if you see this report at the top level or at the aggregated level, I don't see any metrics. I don't see any metrics at the aggregated level. I see metrics only at the lowest level, because I picked the stepped layout. Stepped layout is the layout where it does not show the numbers or it does not show the details at the aggregated level. Okay. So now if I want to edit this one, there are two options. Either I need to recreate the report with the other option, other layout, or I will try to edit the report using this design pane. Okay. So my requirement is I want to add the sum columns here. Sum means the detail columns. So all I can do is go here, because at the product category name I want to see the reseller order quantity, right. So when you go here, hover onto the column or the cell, I see this symbol there, which is basically gives the list of the fields, available fields in the data set. Click on this and I can pick the detail I want to show there. I want to show reseller order quantity. Okay. And as soon as I say reseller order quantity, it actually added the aggregation. It says sum of reseller order quantity. Whereas at the detail level it does not show sum, it shows just the resale order quantity, because it want to show the detailed lower level values. Whereas when we picked at the aggregated row group level, this is row groups, right. So at the row group level it is summing up for us. Similarly for internet order quantity also, I will go and select internet. Okay. Now I added reseller order quantity sum and internet order quantity sum. Similarly, I want to do the same thing for product subcategory as well, because I want to see the totals at the subcategory level as well. I will say reseller order quantity here and internet order quantity. So both are sum, both are the sum values. Okay. So save, and now I will go to preview to see the report output. Now what is happening? I can see the numbers at aggregated level. Now when I am using this report as a business user, I can say that for the bikes there are so many order quantities and so many reseller order quantities, so many internet order quantity. So if I am interested to see at the detail level, lower level, I can always click on this and go to the detail level and see. For mountain bikes I have so many orders and internet orders, and road bikes I have so many reseller orders. If I am still interested in look into further details, I can go here. It is not showing anything here because I am not picking product name from my query, right. My query just stops at subcategory. I don't have product name, that is why I am not showing, it is not showing any value here, but the data is coming at the product level. Okay. But this one is at subcategory level it is aggregating and category level it is aggregating. So, this is much more user friendly than showing this one big report like this, all the numbers. So, if there are hundreds of products or millions of records, you will see a big gigantic report versus you will see the aggregated report or consolidated report like this. And then we have a report per year in each page. So, I have 2011 in one page, 2012 in one page, 2013 in one page like this. Okay. So, this is much better for usability point of view, in usability point of view. Okay. And now I want to do some formatting. So, I have created a report which is user friendly, but I want to do more formatting to this report. So, I can go to the design and here I can select the cells and change the fonts, I can change the formatting, I can change the background colors and all. So, for example, if I select this the column, the complete column, and I will go to the properties, I will say border color, not the border color, fill background color, I want to fill the background color with some color, and I want to fill the foreground or font color with white, so that I can see white numbers. So, I will go to preview. So, my changes are effective here. Now, I want to go to the product category and I want to change the background color there as well. Similarly, font color. And for subcategory as well. I am just picking random colors, so this may not look good, but okay. Preview. So, that is my formatting. So, I just changed colors. So, like this we can build SSRS reports. So, now it is much better than the first one we built here. Okay, I can see the numbers, I can drill down to lowest level and I can see the numbers at aggregated level if needed, and collapse and expand. And if I want to see the data for different years, I can go to the navigate to next page and see the different years reports. Okay, that is building a basic report. Now, we will talk about header and footer. How to add header and footer into the report. So far we just built a report, right, without, this is just the body of the report. If to add a header or footer, I need to go to the design page and then right click on the wizard window, can say add page header. So, this is the page header it added. Similarly, I can say add page footer. So, now I got page header on the top and page footer on the bottom. Now, I can add anything I want to this area. Okay. If I go to preview, I see some space here because I haven't filled with anything for the footer and header. So, that is about building a report using headers, footers and the body. Now if we look at this design page, we see some properties in the left side, which is report data. It says we see built-in fields, parameters, images, data sources, data sets. These are all the properties of this particular report. These are not common properties. These are only the properties applicable to only this report. Okay, we will see one by one. So built-in fields. Built-in fields are the fields available within the report or built-in fields available within the report. That means these are system generated fields. They give different values. So for example, page number, right? Built-in field page number tells what is the page number of that current page of the report. Okay, for example, let's say I want to add page, not this is a page name, page number I was talking. Okay, I want to add page number to the footer just to show the user on which page that particular user is browsing the report in. Okay, to add the page number, I will just drag it here. Okay, so this field now will show the page number. And similarly here you will see multiple built-in fields: report folder, report name, URL, total pages. Total pages gives how many pages are there in this report. So if you saw that preview earlier, we had around 5 pages, right? So the total pages field will give us that number, how many pages of report we have. So those are basically good to have features in the navigation. Then we have parameters. Parameters are the values that we pass to the data set, that we will see later. Okay, images. Images are basically the folder where you can upload images that you can use in the report. Okay, for example, let's say I want to add my image, some logo. Okay, so I added this image and now I want to add this image to the header. So I will drag it here to add the image and I will say image name embedded. These are all the properties of the image. Click OK. So now I added one image to my report. Maybe I'll just expand it little bit. Okay, and I have added page number to the footer. I have added page number to the footer and image to the header. Now here I want to say it's a page number. Okay, so I want to add a text here. To add a text, I will say right click, insert, and there are multiple options: text box, line, rectangle, image. So for now I want to use text box because I want to type in something. So I will place the text box there and I will say page. And I will make it bold. Okay, so that is my text, page, page number field, and my picture. And now one more thing is, if you want to see the properties of each cell, any cell within the SSRS, you can just right click and say text box properties or the box properties. You will see multiple options here. And the other thing in common property or common feature in any of the cell is you can override the behavior or values by right clicking and saying expression. So you can change the value by its expression by specifying expression. For example, let's say you want to change the color. So you can change the color by expression as well. Okay. So every cell will have those two common properties, expression and the properties. Expression is where you can specify the expression or the formula that derives this value. Okay. Now, with these changes I want to preview the report again. Click on preview, and now I see the page number here and my logo here and the report title. 2010 is my year. Click next. I see 2011 and my page number is changed to 2 by default. I haven't I didn't do anything with that field. It's a built-in field. Click next. It shows 2012 and the page number 3, and I can do drill downs. Okay, so like this we can use the built-in fields to show useful information. Now user will know that he is in third page of the report. Similarly, you can use built-in fields like total pages, and you can show the total pages here somewhere in the footer left side. Then he will know that the total pages are 5 and he is in third page. So it will give him the information like at which place he is in. Okay. So that is about this thing. So can we show additional information not just here? Yes, because it is just the text box here, right? You can say, let's say I want to show this one here, and I want to include a text box. Insert a text box which will say year. I will just make it bold. Okay, now let's see the preview. So now I can see show it as year 2011 as well. So depending on the needs, we can, that is, so the formatting is getting affected here. Maybe I will try to move it down. So like this. Okay, but it's all about formatting. So we can pick whatever options we want. That means the placements, we can place this components or controls wherever we want depending on the need. But those are the basic features within the while building SSRS report. And next there are data sources. Data source is the data source that we used for this report, and this could be a shared data source or it could be a local data source specific to this report. Okay, and then we have data set. Data set is the query we specified that returns a data set. Okay, so this is building a basic SSRS report. So in this report, what is happening? We are showing the data for all years 2010 to 2015, whatever the data available. So instead, let's say I want to filter the report by a specific year. That means I want to have a ability to filter the report for a given year. I don't want to see all the years data. Instead, I want to pick a specific year and then see the data for that year. So to do that, we need to use the parameters. Okay, parameters can be used to pass a value into the data set. That means in my scenario, to filter the report for a specific year, I need to pass year as the parameter into the data set. Let us see how we can do that. So, I will take the same query, but instead of having this full free text query, I want to create a stored procedure. Okay. I will take the same query and create a stored procedure. Create a stored procedure that accepts one parameter, dbo.get sales by product, and my parameter is calendar year, which is integer. So, I have the parameter and my stored procedure is the same query, no change to the query, but I need to add the filter to the query. So, I will put the wrapper select star from STBL where calendar year, I want to filter the data for a given calendar year equals to the parameter value. Okay. So, that is my simple stored procedure. So, I took the same query that gives me the data or the sales by product, and I am filtering the data by calendar year, and the calendar year is the parameter passed to this stored procedure. So, with this example I want to show how we can use stored procedures in the data set. So far we saw only free flow text as a query. Now, I want to use a stored procedure. Okay. I will go back to my report and I will try to create a new report, add new report, next same data source, and this time I want to build a query. I will cancel this for a second. I will say execute So, the moment I said execute the stored procedure with parameter, it is asking a parameter properties. That means, it identified that particular variable as a parameter. I will say could not find stored procedure because I have created in a different database. So, let us go ahead and create new data source for this particular report. New data source, I will call it as my database name, edit, and my database is the practice database. Click OK. Next. Now, I will say execute and just put some default value. Click next. Okay. Okay, it says invalid table name. Because these tables do not exist in my database. So, what I need to do is I need to add the database name reference in the query. Or I will do one thing, I will just create this stored procedure in AdventureWorks DB. So, let us see if I have that stored procedure already. If we have stored procedure, I will drop it. Could not find. Okay. Now, I will create the stored procedure. Okay. So, now I will cancel this, say right click new report. Next, now I will use the shared data source because my data source is already pointing to AdventureWorks. So, I do not need to create a new data source. Say execute my stored procedure equals to 0. Next, now it is asking for tabular or matrix. So, this time let us see the matrix, how the matrix looks. Next, and in the page I will still go with calendar year, and the details I will go with the quantities, the measures, and the rows I want to pick subcategory and the category in the columns. Okay, I want to show category in the column grouping, subcategory in the row grouping. Okay, let us see how this report looks. Sales by product with search. So, I am able to, I am adding a search option where I can search for a specific year. Finish. So, now it added the report, and if you see here it added a calendar year, because the calendar year we used as a parameter to the stored procedure, right. So, that is why it is showing as a text box. And where is it storing this information? Under parameters folder. If you expand parameter, you see the parameter name here. If you want to edit the properties, you can do that. Right click, parameter properties, you can say name, prompt as calendar year. As I click OK, when I say prompt changed, the value here is changed. This is the value it is showing in the, or this is the string it will show in the report to accept calendar year. And if you look at the other properties, the name of the property is calendar year, and the data type text, allow blank, allow nulls, allow multiple values. Depending on our requirement, we can choose appropriate option. Select parameter visibility. Should this parameter be visible in the report or hidden, or is it internal? Okay. So, if you do not want to show it, you can hide it. Available values, select from one of the following options. So, what should be the value of this parameter? So, you can specify the values here. That means, you want to pick one of the values from the pre-listed values, or you can specify a query. So, when you are specifying a query for this, maybe you will be running some report or some query that returns a year number, and you will use that year number as a value to this parameter. And when you do that, that particular value will be passed as a parameter to the stored procedure that we created, and the data will be filtered by that year. Okay. So, that is values to this parameter. Then default values, are there any default values available, or are there any default values we want to provide for this particular parameter. Then if you go to advanced, this is how to refresh, when to refresh this parameter. Okay. So, those are the options or properties available for each parameter in the report. So, click OK. Now, let us preview the report. Click on preview, and when I click on preview, since there is a parameter, I do not see anything in the report. I see the report only after I enter a value to the parameter. So, let us say I enter 2012. I want to see the data for calendar year 2012. I will say view report. Let us say 2011. Let us try it here first. So, one more thing we need to see is so I get the data here. So, I am getting data for 2011. So, one thing I want to see here is the data set, how the data set is defined here. I will say right click, properties, data set properties, and here we used as default value 0, right, but I want to assign the value to this particular stored procedure. So, when I was creating a report, I just picked some execute statement script, which is a plain text again in this query. It is as good as specifying a query where passing value 0. Okay. So, since the value is 0, it is executing this query as a literal string, because this one is under as a text. So, it is not returning anything. So, because the query type is text. Now, since this is a stored procedure, there is an option to specify this particular whatever the statement or query we are using as a stored procedure. So, when we do that, it will ask for the procedure name. Instead of execute procedure and all the string, we can specify just the procedure name here. I can even choose from this, from the source. Okay. Get sales by product, this is my procedure, and I can say refresh fields. Refresh fields is the fields that are coming out of the data set. Okay. Those are the columns that are returned by this particular stored procedure. I can say refresh fields to refresh the columns if there are any changes, and here there is an option for parameters. So, this is the parameter value we want to get from the report. When a user enters the report, enters the parameter value for calendar year, I want to get the value into this stored procedure. So, this is the parameter value. This parameter value is this one, the value entered by user, or in other words, this parameter is the one that is listed in here, and this parameter name is the one we are using in the stored procedure. So, that is my parameter name. Okay. Let us say if I change this to be clear, calendar, I will name it as calendar year. So, I change the stored procedure with the parameter name I changed to calendar year. Now, I will go here and I will say refresh fields, because my stored procedure signature is changed. The fields is refreshed and parameters, now I see calendar year. So, this is the parameter that is used in the stored procedure. Now, I need to assign a value or the parameter from report. Since the names are changed, now it is not able to identify the parameter by default, but I can always choose the parameter. So, now what I am saying, the value entered in this text box or the value entered for this parameter will be passed to this stored procedures parameter. Okay. So, the user enters a value here and the value is captured into the parameter SSRS parameter, and that value in turn is passed to the stored procedure. Okay. So, now this is done, click OK. Now, I will go to preview. I will enter the year 2011 and click on view report. Now, it is showing me the report. So, if you remember, we picked matrix format where we provided the subcategory into row group and the product category into the column group. So, that is why it is showing the accessories as column group, or I can even maybe give some space here. And the product I will make it as centered. Text align, I will say center. I will go to enter the filter value. So, now you see the column grouping here. So, the row grouping I specified product subcategory as the row group, and column group I specified product category, and the reseller order quantity and internet order quantity are the actual measures. So, this is the matrix format and we are seeing the report only for 2011, and this value is coming from the parameter or the filter search value that user is entering. Okay. So, like this we can restrict the report based on the input from the user. Okay. So, the only thing here is user has to enter the value. If let us say user does not enter the value and say view report. So, now SSRS by default throws an error message saying please enter a value for the parameter calendar year, the parameter cannot be black. So, SSRS throws that error message because we have not provided any default value. If you go to the parameter properties, we have not provided any default value. So, since we have not provided default value, SSRS needs a value for that, and also we said we did not check any of these options, allow blank, allow nulls, allow multiple values. If let us say if we check allow nulls, then it will not throw the prompt because we are allowing nulls, but for now I am not allowing any null values into this parameter. So, it will throw the error message to enter the calendar year. And another thing is, if you want to access these parameters or the properties here, you have to be in the design mode. So, right now I am in preview mode, right. In preview mode I cannot access any of these properties. These are will be just read only, or this won't be accessible because I am in preview mode. To access these properties I need to switch to design mode and then access the properties. Okay. So, that is about having the report with search option, where user enters some value or enters the input value, and we use that value to generate the report. Okay. That is about basic reporting.